Welcome to the Sacred Living Podcast. I'm your host, Leonie Dutoy, an expert in awareness and intuition. As a transformational coach, spiritual teacher, and healer, my mission is to help 1 million people tap into their own inner power. Join me on the sacred journey as we explore the tools and modalities that guide us through awakening, healing, and growth. In each episode, we'll delve into the spiritual foundations, inner work, and the path to awakening abundance. Discover how your spirit senses, awareness, and intuition can help you cut through the confusion of waking up, navigating the overwhelming amount of information out there, and bring clarity, ease, and purpose into your life. Let me bring you the tools, techniques, and guidance to support you on your own spiritual journey. Let's walk this beautiful and sacred path together. Today could not be a better day to start a podcast. I am so grateful for this beautiful day. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share this with you guys. And as I say this, I've got chills running down my entire body, which just tells me that I am so in alignment. I wanted to use this first episode to share the reason why I started the podcast and how it came to be, because I feel that that is really important, and I feel that it could potentially inspire somebody to take the first step as well. There is a beautiful, big message in there. Today is Monday, the 19th of August, 2024. And if you know a little bit about numerology, if you add up all the numbers, all the digits, it adds up to the number 8. Plus, it's the 8th month, if you want to take it in that way, and also the 8th year. We're in the 8th cycle, and it's all about abundance, which has been a big journey for me personally, abundance. Today is also a full moon, but it's not just a regular full moon. It is the first supermoon of 2024, and it is also a blue full moon. So it is all about transformation, releasing old patterns, and it's a great life cycle that's coming to completion. So there's a lot of finishing off. And as I do this podcast, again, I've got chills. It's literally the ending of an era for me in some ways, and it is a beginning in so many ways. So I'm super excited to be here and share this with you on this beautiful day. It just feels like the energy is aligning, and I'll shed a bit of awareness around this because I was meant to start this podcast on Friday. It is now Monday morning, and it just didn't work out over the weekend. My tech didn't work out. I needed to go and get another interface to do this from my desk, and I had to put in so many different things into place to get to today. So I know and trust that it was meant to be on today with the full moon. It is an 8-day of abundance, and it holds so much more weight and so much more beautiful energy for me, right? Creating a podcast has been in my field, my energy, for a long time now, for potentially, I'd say, a year. And back then, I wanted to call it the shower portal podcast because if you know, whenever you hop in the shower, for me at least, and I know there will be other people out there, I am just flooded with creative energy and ideas and inspiration and downloads. And yes, so I had that idea probably about a year ago, and it stuck with me, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was in full alignment for it. There was still a lot going on for me, and I decided not to do it. Or at least I used every excuse not to do it, right? So here I am a year later, and about 2 weeks ago, I got the nudge again. I got the intuition again to start a podcast, as I'm busy rebranding my business and stepping into a completely new timeline, if you want to call it that. And I got the nudge, and I know that feeling. And I was like, this is the right time. And the name obviously fits in exactly with the academy. And I had a look, and the name was available, Sacred Living Podcast. And I just fell in alignment, and I didn't feel as blocked as I did previously, but I still had this one limiting belief. And it was that I didn't know if I had something to say. I didn't know if I had the words to say it as eloquently as some other people out there. And that was one of my blocks. While listening to a podcast last week, I heard something in there that he said, and it was kind of stuck in my head. And a little bit later, I found myself sitting at my desk, and I was going through what he had said in my head, and it was just mulling around. And before I knew it, I was sitting and I was talking to myself, which I do very often. And I was talking through the process. I was talking to myself, and I had the awareness that I was physically doing a podcast. And I just had a big smile on my face. And I was like, oh my God, this is a podcast. I have been doing podcasts my entire life. I have been talking to myself my entire life. In fact, when I was just out of school, I had a job as a retail salesperson, and one of the ladies that worked with me was a Black African lady, and she was kind of short. And I would stand in the front of the store, and she would stand in the back of the store, and I would talk to myself. And this is before I actually realized that I was doing this. But she would stand in the back of the store, and her little head would just stick out from the clothing racks, and she would stare at me. And one day I caught her staring at me, and she looked at me with worry in her eyes, and she was like, "You are talking to yourself. That is a problem." And I asked her, and she explained to me that they have beliefs and superstitions that if you talk to yourself that you're a crazy person. Well, I know that I'm not crazy, but it's a way for me to work through things in my own head, and I talk to myself. So I sat at my desk talking to myself, talking through what I had heard, processing it, and I realized that I was doing a podcast. So I had this beautiful awareness within that moment. And not only did I have that beautiful awareness, but later that day, when I was talking to my daughter and telling her about what had happened, I realized that my clients have always said to me, "Leonie, you make things so simple. You make it so easy to understand." And that was one of my magic gifts. And in that moment, I had another awareness. The awareness was that I didn't have to use words that were, you know, so like beautiful and big, and use terminology that was scientific. All I needed to do was to show up and be myself, and therein lies the magic. I received a quote from my higher self, from my guides, a while ago when I was going through opening up my voice, to use my voice in sound healing. And I didn't have the freedom to use my voice because I was comparing myself to other people. I didn't sound like other people. I didn't have the strength of my voice like other people. I didn't have, even though I did sing in the choir in high school, which was an amazing experience, I did not have the freedom to sing in front of people. And I shut my voice down for a really long time. And one day in a meditation, I received this guidance, and it is, do not limit yourself by comparing yourself to others. And that phrase, that quote dropped back in my head, and I realized that I was comparing myself to other people. And because I was comparing myself to other people, I did not step up to what I was meant to do. And it was to create a podcast so that I could share the message that I have because I have a big message, and I am so grateful that I am here right now and I have the ability to share this with you. Life has set me up to be here with you today. The recording, the processing, the producing of this, the editing, I can do all of that in this moment by myself because I had to learn how to produce music probably about 7 years ago when I started doing the recordings of my meditations because people were asking me for it. So I have been set up in every way. These are those puzzle pieces that come together, those puzzle pieces that when you look back one day, you go, oh, wow, look at everything fitting together. This clearly is where I was meant to be. This is clearly where my life has been taking me. So I wanted to share that with you. That is how I came to this point, to creating this podcast, and why I am sitting with you today. Now, my big why behind the podcast and the Sacred Living Academy is to reach 1 million people and beyond, to help people tap into their own spirit senses. Now, awareness and intuition to me are spirit senses, and we've got 5 physical senses, right? And beyond the 5 physical senses, we have the 6th sense, which is intuition. Now, I don't believe that intuition is a 6th sense. I believe it is a first sense. But I want to go one further, and I teach people from the very basics, the foundations up, because awareness and intuition are 2 senses, 2 abilities, 2 faculties that we have that has to take on the first role, the first step in everything that we do in life, because without awareness and intuition, we are physically running on autopilot. If I didn't have the awareness, if I was not so in tune last week when I was listening to the podcast and I was sitting at my desk talking to myself, I would not have realized and recognized what was happening in that moment for me. That is why awareness and intuition, and I call them our spirit senses, that is why awareness and intuition are the 2 foundations that I teach through everything that I do. Whether you're sitting with me in a one-on-one consultation, whether you're coming to me for a healing, I am going to bring to you awareness and intuition. I am going to help you lay the foundation so that you can live your life through the lens of awareness and intuition. In Sacred Beginnings, my flagship program within the Academy, we do awareness and intuition as 2 modules, and everything that follows after that runs through those lenses. My aim is to help you tap into those 2 abilities because your life will be very different if you can sit in the moment having a conversation and being so in awareness that you recognize exactly what is happening for you in that moment. You are going to make different decisions. You are going to sign your contracts differently. You are going to do your dating differently. You're going to buy your food differently. You are going to exercise differently. You are going to process your healing. You process your trauma very differently if you do it through the lens of awareness and intuition. And at some point, it is going to be so ingrained within you that almost you don't have to think about it. That's the magic of doing things over and over and over and over and over. And my entire life is based on awareness and intuition. That is the reason why I am bringing the podcast to you guys. I want to help you tap into your awareness and your intuition. And if you are just waking up and you're just starting your spiritual journey, trust me when I say, if you focus on those 2 things to start with, it is going to help you navigate the overwhelming amount of information out there. It is going to help you navigate when you need to choose a mentor and the coach, or whether you need to sign up for a course. Because if you have the guidance from your intuition and you are staying in awareness, you will notice and you will know if it feels good, if it feels right. You always have to stay in awareness, even when you receive the intuition, because intuition is not always the full picture, the end goal. It is the next step. And if you don't stay in awareness, you are going to try and see down the road when you should be seeing what is right in front of you. And sometimes right in front of you means stepping a little to the left and then a little to the right and not forward. And that is why it is really important to stay in awareness when you get the intuitive nudge, because there is awareness within the awareness, within the awareness, within the awareness. And if that doesn't make sense, stick around, listen to the following podcasts, because I will bring you the tools, the techniques, the modalities, the experts to help you on this beautiful journey. Thank you for sticking around today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of my journey. And I hope that you will continue coming back to listen to more episodes and continue to grow with me and the rest of our community on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sacred journey. Thank you so much for listening to the Sacred Living Podcast. If you loved the show and found value from being here, please share it with the world so we can help others on their spiritual journey. Please rate the show. It will only take a few seconds, and it will help the Sacred Living Podcast reach more beautiful souls like yourself. Let's reach 1 million people with this message that they can live their best life if they use their spirit senses, awareness and intuition. Making the world a better place starts with knowing ourselves and living guided by our soul. Stay in awareness, be open to your intuition, and live an abundant and blessed life. Until next time, beautiful soul. If you're new to the spiritual path or looking to deepen your spiritual practices, Sacred Beginnings is the perfect place to start. Launching again in January 25, this transformative 12-week program is designed to help you build strong foundations that will support your growth and awakening for years to come. In Sacred Beginnings, you'll embark on a journey through essential spiritual teachings and practices that focuses on the two most important senses, awareness and intuition. These senses are at the core of everything that I teach because they are the keys to truly unlocking your spiritual potential. Explore topics like awareness, intuition, grounding, clearing, psychic abilities, chakras, crystals, past life regression, awakening abundance, and so much more. Each module is thoughtfully crafted to guide you step by step on your sacred path, providing you with the tools and knowledge needed to awaken your spirit, heal old wounds, and grow into your true potential. Where the world talks about manifesting, we focus on awakening abundance. Yes, we use similar steps, but our emphasis on awareness and intuition is what truly makes the difference. This missing link will empower you to tap into the real power of manifesting. With live sessions, guided practices, a supportive community, and the opportunity for personal coaching, you'll experience deep transformation in a nurturing and sacred environment. Don't miss your chance to be part of this powerful experience. Go to sacredlivingacademy.com and join the priority list to be the first to know when we open the doors to Sacred Beginnings. Or simply click the link in the show notes. Your sacred journey awaits. Get ready to step into a new chapter of spiritual growth and empowerment. I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Salvador Pelaez. He's a music producer and sound engineer over in the United States. He created this very track that you're listening to, and I am so grateful for it. So if you are in the podcast space, or you need a track for YouTube or for guided meditations, if that's your thing, or music for anything, why don't you reach out to him at pristinestudios.com, have a chat with him, and I'm sure that he'll be able to help you out with music that is perfect for you. That's Salvador Pelaez at pristinestudios.com, and I will add all his details in the show notes for you.